I will present you the lessons learned from an ECHA perspective. And I will start to give you a brief overview of what we have in terms of received applications at the moment. And I will go more into the details of what we have learned for all the steps of the process, how we can maintain the efficiency, and where we think we can further improve. And I will conclude with some take-home messages. So, overview of received applications. This is the pipeline as in its current state. So I don't want to explain all the steps, but basically we have the pre-submission phase, the submission phase, the opinion-making phase, and the decision phase. At the moment, in the pre-submission phase, we have roughly 100 applications for authorization cooking in the starting blocks. This is quite a high number, but we are at the moment organizing PSIS for some of these applications for authorization. Currently, today, in the submission process, we don't have any applications at the moment, but we have one which has been recently received on lead chromates, so the public consultation will be launched tomorrow. Then we have 12 applications for authorizations under evaluation by RAC and SEAC at the moment on trichloroethylene. And at the end of the pipe, so now it's in the decision on the Commission's desk. They have 13 applications for 36 uses. And at the moment, again, we have 2 decisions for 2 uses already issued by the Commission. So one is the SAS-Hollandsman and the other one is the Rolls-Royce. Now, this slide shows you further breakdown of these applications per substance. So we have received applications on the phthalates, lead chromates pigment, HBCDD, arsenic trioxide, trichloroethylene, and the recent lead chromate application. You can see that we have a number of 28 applications received at the moment with 44 applicants for a number of 56 uses. Then we have these RAC and SEAC opinions. I just want to point out here that these numbers are not easy to communicate. We have to count number of opinions per application or per use and applicants. So we decided to count them per combination of use and applicants. So it may look a little bit exaggerated, but we have issued 63 opinions at the moment. For instance, in the HPCDD case, you have 13 applicants, 2 uses, so you end up with 26 opinions at the end. Now, if we further look at what we have been doing, this information is fully available on our website. So I just made a compilation of what has been submitted and on the outcome of the RAC and SEAC opinions. So in the first column, you have the substance name and the applicant's name. Not all of them, but at least in the joint application, I just highlighted the lead applicant. Second column, you can see the type of applicants. So we have received applications by manufacturers, by importers, only representative downstream users. So we had the full range of supply chain roles. Then I also indicated an idea of the scope of the alpha. So the scope is, let's say, 2 dimensions. You first have the broadness of the use itself, but you also have the number of the use who are covered by an application. For instance, an upstream application would cover naturally high numbers or potentially high numbers of DUs. We also have received applications submitted on the adequate control route with adequate control demonstrated. Some applications, adequate control has not been demonstrated, and we have received applications for non-threshold substance. Bridging application, bridging application is not a legal term or regulatory term, it's just our internal jargon that to identify an application where the applicant have clearly identified a safer alternative and is committed to a substitute, and they just need time to move forward the safer alternative. So we have received, let's say, 50% of bridging applications currently. Review periods, again, I compiled the review periods that RAC and SEAC have proposed so far. Again, large variation from 22 months to 12 years. So it's quite a broad range of different review periods proposed by RAC. And last column, the additional conditions and or monitoring arrangements proposed by RAC and SEAC. So in some cases, they have also used this additional condition to address uncertainty. So this is the second part of the table. Yeah, we have at the moment 12 applications for trichloroethylene. 10 of them are very specific DU applications, and 2 of them have been applied by manufacturers with broader scope. Okay, so now if we go to the lessons learned from the first dossier, I will start with the application cost. We have made a feedback survey amongst applicants. We received 24 responses between May 2013 and October 2014. And as already mentioned in the previous presentations, the average cost of preparing an application per applicant and per use is approximately 230,000 euros. This would include the consulting fees, the expenses, and the application fee and the internal staff time. Interesting to notice is that approximately half of this cost was driven by consulting fees, while the application fee accounted only for 15% of the total cost. So the application fee doesn't seem to be very high. As already mentioned, we also saw a clear trend that indicates a declining cost. So the average cost now, or at least for the people who have submitted in the second half of 2014, is less than 200,000 euros per applicant per use. And if we go to the breakdown of the total cost driven by, they are driven by assessment reports. So in terms of assessment reports, we mean AOA, CA, and CSR, and you can see that 60% of the total costs are driven by these assessment reports, and we put the relative efforts for each of them, and you can see that the AOA comes in first position, 40%, CR 35%, and CSR only 20%. Maybe this is because the applicants didn't have to provide hazard data for many of the applications in the CSR. Now, lessons learned from the pre-submission phase. Again, we have said that PSIS and notifications have been useful. We have received since 2012 186 notifications. All the applicants that we have seen, they have notified us. They have also requested PSIS, and they have obtained this PSIS. We have had 24 of them, and all the applicants have asked for it. Feedback was very positive. Also, in some PSIS, we were not able to clarify all the issues. I just want to remind here that the aim of this PSIS is not to prejudge what the RAC and SEAC will say, or help applicants to build a good application. So we just try to explain the regulatory issues, technical issues, and also better reading of the guidance. So we will continue to maintain this notification and PSIS process, because they have been also very helpful for us and for the committees to plan their work. Submission phase, what we have observed there is that almost all applicants have submitted within the windows, which is very good for us because it helps us to synchronize these submissions per batch. And we have noticed a couple of exceptions, and we have tried to be flexible with these ones. Business rules, clearly they are not a showstopper, so technically the dossiers are okay. We have noticed a couple of technical issues, but the applicants have been able to solve them very quickly, so it didn't slow down the process. Conformity check. All applications have been found in conformity, but I just would like to point out that this conformity check is not a quality check. It's rather a legal check. So we check that the information is there, but we don't check for its quality. The quality is checked by the RAC and SEAC when they deliver their opinions. Invoices, we expected some issues there because the deadlines are short, but all of them have been paid on time, so which is good news, at least for us. So we have been able to process them in a timely manner. Public consultation, okay, we have this broad information on use package. So this is a set of information that ECHA prepares for the sake of the public consultation. So basically, this is section 9 and 10 of the CSR, the AUA and the CEA. And what we have noticed in the first dossiers is that we had a lot of confidential business information claimed by the applicants, and this was quite difficult for us to manage and handle this information. So in addition to that, we received an access to documents request, so there is a court case pending on this, at least on one application. But as said already before, the situation has improved quite a lot when we have published the new format for the AUA and the CEA templates. Basically, we have introduced the blanking out approach so that people can see what is confidential, what has been removed from the assessment reports. So it has increased the transparency, and now we don't think it's an issue anymore. Public consultations, again, here, a large variety of comments, from 0 comments to 400. For instance, the lead chromates pigment, they received 400 comments, which was quite a lot of comments. Also, the public consultation is normally focused on alternatives. We have received comments on exposure assessment, so more a RAC topic, but all of them have been taken into consideration by RAC and CEAC. Quality, yeah, some of them were very focused, to the point, and very useful. Some of them were more general and therefore less useful. Interesting also that these comments have been submitted by competitors, by downstream users, authorities, academics, NGOs, mainly from the EU, but also from the USA and from Japan for some of them. For this public consultation, ECHA has introduced a novelty. So unlike for the other public consultation, we make these comments received public during the consultation, and the applicants have the opportunity to respond these comments. We also publish the responses given by applicants. So we think that this public consultation is very transparent. So once the application has been received, the fee paid, the public consultation launched, the clock has started ticking, so the opinion-making phase starts. And what first come to the applicant is the questions from RAC and CEAC. So don't be surprised, once you have paid, RAC and CEAC quickly prepare some questions because they will have clarifications. They will need to have clarifications. And at the moment, they have asked all applicants at least questions. However, the workload could seem to be high. Some of the questions were very deep, very detailed, so applicants have done a great job in answering all of them on time. This was quite challenging, we are aware of that. And also because they come just before the trialogue. So basically, at the public consultation, between the public consultation and the trialogue, you have these questions. So the applicants are very busy, and the rapporteurs are very busy. Few words about the trialogues. We have organized 13 so far. In all the cases, they have been found very useful, both from RAC and CEAC perspective. I take the points of Julius that in some cases, especially at the beginning, maybe we should have had one, but we were still in the experimental phase, let's say. But now we think we have better understanding on the usefulness of this trialogue. But maybe they don't need to be organized if the application is clear and if the rapporteurs doesn't see the need to organize such a trialogue. So normally the first round of questions and answers by applicants is enough. So therefore, we would not have this trialogue. At that stage of the application, of the opinion-making phase, this is a very busy stage. So applicants have to respond to public consultation comments. They have to answer RAC and CEAC questions, and they have to be prepared for the trialogues. So we are aware that this is a heavy traffic period of time with short deadlines, so we have to be very careful. We also have to be careful on the questions asked by committees so that they are fit for purpose questions and not intending to have nice to have information. So this is where we have to build further our experience. Plenaries. So despite the fact that the first applications contained a lot of confidential business information, RAC and SEAC have been able to handle the plenaries in observed sessions, which was a great news as well, also for transparency. And the draft opinions have been agreed between month 4 and month 10. So we just calculated average the time needed to develop the draft opinions. It was 7.1 months in average. So RAC and SEAC are ready to deliver the opinions on time. Now, if I go to the RAC work, without going too much into the details, because Tim Baumer will elaborate further on that. The first applications, we received a large amount of different, let's say, approaches for the exposure assessment. Some applicants, they have used modeling. Some others, they have used the air measurements or biometering or combination of all these. What became quite clear from RAC is that RAC has a strong preference for measured data. That is quite a clear message we can give. Also, RAC has been able to use short review periods or additional conditions to address uncertainties, especially in the upstream applications where the level of uncertainty is quite high. Then RAC has been proposing additional conditions and monitoring arrangements to address these uncertainties, having in mind the review process, meaning that they have identified the weaknesses in the first applications, and they expect that when the applicants resubmit the dossier, they will not do the same mistakes, and they will do a better job in these specific areas. SEAC, again, without going too much into the details, because Thomas will elaborate further. Overall, applicants have done a thorough job in preparing the AOA and the SEA, with some shortcomings, and Thomas will explain them. In some occasions, I'm thinking about the HPCDD case, SEAC has also used not the short review periods, but has used in this case additional conditions on substitution. So SEAC is also able to use these tools. Overall, the two committees have learned quickly how to evaluate AFAS. That's clearly something we have seen compared to the first dossiers, where it was quite difficult and it took time. Now they are more on a cruising mode, and this helps us to have better vision on our capacity to handle a high number of applications. Once the draft opinion have been sent to the applicants can comment them. So what we have, first of all, our intention is to have clear draft opinions so that they don't need to be rediscussed in RAC and SEAC. Process-wise, is quite difficult, timing issues. But what we have seen is that some applicants wanted to comment. They didn't know whether they wanted to comment or not. So they had minor concerns, let's say, or remarks. But they chose not to send their comments because they preferred not to slow down the process and to get the decision as soon as possible. So predictability and market certainty was clearly the driving factor there. As of today, only DESA case triggered a new evaluation by RAC and SEAC, so they have provided comments, and RAC and SEAC had to take these comments into consideration. And for the decision-making phase, the Commission will elaborate further. So we have two decisions there, DHP, DBP, as we said, Rolls-Royce as Hollandsman are there. And we have seen some discussions in REACH committee about the readability and the enforceability of the conditions of granted authorizations, namely the operational conditions and the RMMs. So we have some discussions there. Substitution, we thought it was important to at least say something about that, because we know that substitution is taking place. Of course, it takes place most probably before the substance arrives in X14 and before we receive applications for authorization. As mentioned by Tatiana, 50% of the substances in X14, which passed the latest application date, will receive no applications for authorization at all. So meaning that after the sunset date, the scope within the uses within the scope of authorization are not authorized anymore. What we have seen from the received application is that at least 50% of them are bridging applications, meaning that applicants are committed to move towards safer alternatives. They have identified them and they will implement them. So you can see the cup half full or half empty, but yeah, this is a 50-50 situation. In more general terms, ECHA is willing to further work, promote, monitor, analyze substitution activities, and we are committed to do so. As already mentioned, we are preparing dedicated web pages on our website. We have a series of webinars on substitution going on, and we are also involved in the OECD working group to publish a toolbox on alternative assessment. Okay, so we think the process is efficient, but we can, of course, further improve some areas. To maintain this efficiency, we had, as I said already, asked feedback to applicants. And again, yeah, positive feedback on the experience with ECHA support mechanisms. So people appreciated the relation with ECHA staff, the PSIS, the guidance document, workshops and seminars that we are organizing, and the IT tools. So no big problems there, positive feedback. For the first dossier, we have asked them to identify the causes of efforts and difficulty in the alpha process. And clearly, for the first applications, the lack of in-house expertise was one problem. So it probably means that applicants had to go to consultants. They also struggle and spend time and effort to communicate strategies within their supply chains. It was time and effort consuming for them. They also identified the unpredictability in receiving an authorization and unpredictability about the review periods. So we think that now with the applications that we have on the table, with the opinions that we have delivered, this unpredictability is lower, and also for the review periods. If you look at what has been evaluated by the committees, you have a pretty much good guess of what can happen. So what ECHA has already done to maintain this efficiency, to provide this efficiency, we have been working quite a lot on the formats and the IT tools. As I said, we have implemented this blanking out approach for the AOA and the CR format. So we aim at maintaining this 90% public information, 10% confidential business information ratio. We also developed a new AOA-CR format, so combined format, to provide more clarity and to allow people to explain their case in a more narrative way and to combine these two assessment reports, which are interlinked. And we also started to develop and further improve the opinions format and the justifications so that the opinions are presented in a clearer way. In terms of IT tool, we have recently launched a pre-configured Euclid 5 for alpha. So basically, this is a tool which is aiming at helping SMEs so they don't have to bother with rich IT and Euclid and synchronization of LEOX. 2 minutes, okay. So this is one thing we have developed, and we also want to we have published on our website some key documents such as the common approach paper, how RAC and SEAC evaluate applications, the derivations of DNLs and those response relationships are there, how SEAC can evaluate economic feasibility and the review periods. We also try to keep a personal contact with the applicants and give good interaction. We are not robots, so we are human beings, so we try to have this contact with applicants. So what we'll continue to do is, of course, to provide additional capacity building, first of all, to applicants. So this can be done through the update of technical guides, instructions, communication of best practices. To RAC and SEAC also, we will continue supporting them in deriving the DNLs and those response curve, provide them with training on technical and scientific topics if necessary. We do see some room for improvement on the interaction between RAC and SEAC. So there, clearly, there is something we can further improve. And also, we need to ensure consistency and alignment of the opinions across applications, because this is important. Internal staff, we do train our internal staff also to cope with the incoming workload. Streamlining the working procedures and the IQMS document, this is business as usual, I would say. And we also will continue to provide support to the Commission, national enforcement authorities, and member states to support them on the decision-making process, and also maybe further clarify some exemptions. There are still some work to be done there. Okay, this slide may be out of context, but after the decision-making phase, there is a new process, which is the downstream users notification process. So just for you to be informed that we are working on it. So normally, after decision is granted, downstream users have to notify us that they use the substance according to an authorization upstream. So we have already started preparations on this. We will publish a web form. We will be sure that the web form is ready by Q2 2015 this year. And we have launched discussions with key stakeholders on this process. So we are at the moment discussing and collecting input and feedback from stakeholders about the submission interface. For instance, we think that, of course, the language issue is important, so we should have this web form in all languages. What type of information we request, how do we keep this information up to date? And the second aspect is, what do we do with this information? Do we keep it confidential, or do we communicate only to member states for enforcement reasons, or do we disseminate it at some point into the public domain, or to authorization holders, for instance? If we do collect some good information from the supply chains, would it be useful to make this information available for the authorization holders in the context of a review report? So I think this is my last slide. So we think that the AFA process works. You can apply with confidence. You have to be transparent. You have also to identify your sources of information. We have seen some visible and positive impacts of the AFA process in terms of better control of the workplace exposure, and also in the speeding up of the implementation of safer alternatives. I think this was quite clear from the Yara and Linxen's case. We all have gained a lot of experience, but we are still on a learning curve, but we think that we have passed the watershed. So overall, we think it's okay, but we may have missed something, and our question to you would be, if we have missed something, please tell us what we have missed. Yeah. Thank you.